If you've ever looked into getting solar for a van, an RV, or maybe even a boat, you've definitely seen flexible solar panels. I mean, they look like the perfect solution, right? But here's the thing. There's this frustrating reality that a lot of people run into. They just stop working way, way sooner than you'd expect. So today, we're going to dig into the hidden physics behind why so many of these panels die after just a couple of years.
Okay, so let's get into it. The marketing promise is just so appealing, isn't it? Stick them down and forget about them. It sounds incredibly simple, super convenient, and honestly, that's the main reason they're so popular for any kind of mobile setup. But that leads us straight to the big question we're tackling today. If they're so easy, so set it and forget it, then why on earth do they seem to give up the ghost after just 2 years? The weird part is, the panel usually looks totally fine on the outside, but the amount of power it's putting out, well, that tells a very different story. To really understand why they fail, we have to start with how they're built. And really, it's a tale of two completely different philosophies when it comes to designing a solar panel.
You know, what's so interesting here is how it just lays out the fundamental trade-off. A rigid panel, think of it like an armored truck for the super fragile solar cells inside. You've got tough tempered glass up front, a stiff aluminum frame holding everything together, and this is key, an air gap underneath for cooling. Flexible panels, on the other hand, just strip all of that protection away in the name of convenience. They're wrapped in a polymer, they have no frame, and you usually just glue them flat against a surface. And that lack of protection, well, that's where all the trouble begins. So the design is definitely the starting point, but the real culprit, the actual reason they fail, is something you can't even see. To find it, we have to look deep inside the panel for this hidden mechanism. And this is the part that drives so many owners crazy. The panel looks perfectly fine. There are no obvious cracks, no visible damage at all, but the thing that's actually killing it is completely invisible. And that hidden killer has a name: microcracks. So what in the world is a microcrack? Well, it's a tiny microscopic fracture inside the silicon solar cell, and the key word there is brittle. Imagine a hairline crack in a piece of glass that you can't even see. That fracture breaks the electrical pathways. And here's the kicker: the damage is permanent. Once a microcrack forms, it basically starts a slow, inevitable death spiral for that part of the panel. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly explains the core problem. We think of solar panels as these rugged, durable things, but the silicon cells inside, they're not. Silicone behaves way more like glass than it does metal. It is extremely brittle, so every single time a flexible panel bends or vibrates or gets stepped on, it's putting a huge amount of stress on these fragile glass-like cells. So what's actually happening on an electrical level? Well, that tiny crack breaks the nice, neat pathway for the electricity. The current, kind of like water trying to get around a dam, is forced to find a new, less efficient route to get where it's going. And that little detour, that's what increases the panel's internal electrical resistance. And that increased resistance leads us directly to the next big problem: heat. Physics gives us this simple but really destructive equation. Power loss equals the current squared times the resistance. The only part you need to remember is this: as that resistance, the R, goes up because of all the microcracks, the power that's lost as heat goes up exponentially. The panel literally starts to cook itself from the inside out. This self-cooking process creates something called a hotspot. It's this tiny area of intense focused heat that's caused by all that high resistance. And hotspots are just incredibly destructive. They can actually melt the polymer, damage the surrounding components, and basically speed up the destruction of the cell completely. But here's the thing: microcracks aren't working alone. They have a partner in crime that makes everything so much worse. Let's talk about heat, the second killer, and how high temperatures push this whole failure process into overdrive. And look, we're not talking about a small temperature difference here. Flexible panels, especially the ones glued down to a dark van roof, can run a staggering 40 degrees Celsius hotter than a well-installed rigid panel. We're talking about surface temperatures that can easily soar past 70 degrees Celsius. That's over 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So why do they get so scorching hot? Well, it all comes back to that design we talked about earlier. They're usually glued right to a surface, which traps all the heat. They're encased in polymer, which doesn't get rid of heat nearly as well as glass does. And most importantly, they're missing that critical air gap for ventilation that lets air flow underneath and cool the whole thing down. All of this trapped heat introduces a whole new powerful force of destruction, something called thermal expansion mismatch.
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. You're looking at an internal battle that's happening inside the panel every single day. When the panel heats up in the sun, the polymer layers expand a lot. The little copper wires expand a medium amount. But the silicone cells themselves, they barely expand at all. This mismatch creates tremendous internal stress, constantly pulling and pushing on the cells and all the little solder connections. Every sunrise, every sunset, this cycle of heating and cooling repeats, just fatiguing the cells and making those microcracks even worse. And this is what that looks like in the real world. You start day one with 100% power output. But within the first year, microcracks start to form from all the flexing and vibration, and you might already be down 5 or 10% of your power. By year two, those cracks have created hotspots, and the thermal stress has made them bigger. Now you're suddenly down 20 to 30%. And soon after that, entire sections of the panel just give up. The panel is, for all intents and purposes, dying. So, does all this mean flexible panels are just useless? No, not at all. But it does mean we have to get real about the difference between the marketing hype and the engineering reality if we actually want to make them last. If you're going to use flexible panels, these 4 installation rules are absolutely critical. First, limit how much you bend them. Yeah, the manufacturer might say 30 degrees is fine, but trust me, less is always better. Second, and this is huge, make sure there's ventilation. If you can possibly mount it with an air gap underneath, do it. It will make a massive difference in temperature. Third, try to avoid gluing them directly onto dark, hot surfaces. And finally, secure them really well to minimize vibration and that constant mechanical stress. So at the end of the day, the crucial thing is to have realistic expectations. A good quality rigid panel is designed for a lifespan of 20, even 30 years. A flexible panel, even if you install it perfectly, is realistically a 3 to 5 year product. It is a fundamental trade-off. And you know what? There are definitely times when that trade-off makes perfect sense. They can be a great choice when minimizing weight is your absolute #1 priority, or when you have no choice but to mount on a curved surface, or for temporary portable setups where they aren't going to be under constant stress day in and day out. And that really brings us to the core lesson of this entire explainer. When you're building a system that you actually need to depend on, you should always, always be designing for durability, not just for convenience. And so that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you understand the physics of why they fail, the microcracks, the killer heat, the thermal stress, is the pure convenience of a flexible panel worth the pretty major compromise in durability for whatever project you're working on?